So you have a sibling who is a narcissist. How do you deal with them? This is Dr. Spencer Coaches. Today I'm going to talk to you about when you have a sibling, a brother or sister, or even a family member who's a narcissist. How do you deal with them, especially during family occasions? Because it may trigger you when you talk to them, and in your mind, you're just connecting with them, but you can experience subtle hints of them putting you down and holding a value system you never agreed to live by. And they're constantly comparing themselves to you. And you can sense this sense of deep insecurity in them. And they basically belittle you in subtle ways. Now, when that happens, it's not just about a sibling caring about you. Yes, siblings can be hard on each other. They know you really well. They know how to get under your skin. And they know sides of you that you may not even be aware of, and can call you out and talk to you like you're just a child, because that's their memory of you. But as you get older, you have your own life, you have your own identity, independent of the family role, and they still talk to you like that because they're your older brother, older sister, or whatever. And you start to pick up on this, that they're actually a narcissist, that they actually have no empathy. They have no care for you at all. They're only competing with you or comparing themselves to you. They're either above you or they're beneath you, and they're trying to bring you down to their level. Now, this can be very aggravating because inside you could be looking for connection and acceptance. You may be looking for a sense of wanting to belong. I'm speaking from experience here. I have a family sibling who is a covert narcissist, and it is like, and now I know the hard way, you don't ever tell a narcissist they're a narcissist. They won't even know what you're talking about. They'll pretend to not know what you're talking about. Even, you described all of the behavioral patterns. You call them out. Look, you're demonstrating all of these things. You're being extremely self-centered. You have no empathy. You're doing these subtle put downs. You're never holding yourself accountable. You got these grandiose notions. You say some mean things, and they won't even know. They'll just say it's your problem. They'll never hold themselves accountable. And that's the thing. If you try to hold them accountable, you will be the bad guy in their life. And they will find something wrong with you to remind you that you don't measure up to them. And this can be really aggravating in the sense of you'll never get acknowledgement from them. You'll never feel like you belong with them. They'll always make you feel like you don't belong because it's really their feeling. You see, you're never going to make your siblings proud of you if they're narcissists, because they have no self-worth. They have, deep down inside, they're extremely insecure. Insecurity is the backbone, it's the chassis of narcissism. Now, they may not be a full-fledged diagnostic, DMS-5, whatever it is, narcissist, but they may have a lot of narcissistic qualities that you realize. I've learned this with my sibling, is I'm never going to connect with them. And my father told me, you're never going to have a heart-to-heart conversation with your brother. He's just not wired that way. In other words, they're never going to open up. They're never going to be transparent. They're never going to be vulnerable because they're scared as hell of being vulnerable. And once you realize this, that it is them, it's not you, that they're narcissists or lean towards narcissistic qualities, you're never going to feel the love that you seek. So stop trying. And that doesn't mean give up on being, cordial and going to the family events. It just means you don't need to win their approval. Because half the time, You want to feel loved, and you're actually looking for validation from your family. This is just a family dynamic. And you're never going to get it because they don't know how to validate themselves. They have such low self-worth, low self-esteem, such an inferiority complex. They're so insecure that they don't know how to give validation. They don't know how to acknowledge you. It's almost like they're incapable of it because they don't validate themselves. They're disappointed in themselves because they're not measuring up to their idea of superiority. Or deep down underneath, they know their superiorship is just bogus. And they never measure up. So therefore, you're never going to measure up either. How could you be better than them? This is how narcissists think. So you're trying to share stories, share what you're doing, share what you've been up to, look at my family, look at my career. And the only thing they're going to do is either be jealous of you if you're doing better than them and envy you. They're never going to show any moral support, positive support. They're not going to be a positive influence. In other words, they're not going to be a role model. You know, the older sibling is usually supposed to be the role model for the younger sibling of how you should behave, how you should act, set a standard of morals. But often a narcissist will not do that. They'll only call you when they want something. And when you talk to them, they're only looking for validation from you. They're just talking, look what I can do. And then they have this, the hint of conceit in their voice. And they're just seeing if you can measure up to them, to their level. They won't listen to you unless there's something in it for them, which is usually something that boosts their self-worth, their self-image, or something that gives them a sense of gain. They will, when they converse with you and you converse with them, you can see their attention goes away because in their mind, you're not worth talking to. You're not worth listening to. Nothing of what you say is going to give them any gain. It's not going to feed their ego. It's not going to feed their superiority. It's not going to feed their grandiose notion of themselves. And they're just going to, you're going to tell they're not even paying attention to you unless there's something in it for them that can build their self-worth. They can give them some sense of understanding of some knowledge of which they can utilize to build their grandiose notions of themselves. And you realize they're never going to actually hear anything you have to say about your life, about how you feel, nothing. They especially don't care about how you feel because they have no empathy. They don't even care about how they feel themselves. They feel miserable inside, but they'll never admit it. And you'll see they'll never exude any joy. There's never a smile. They're always serious, always somber, always giving you guilt trips, reprimanding you as if they know better, even though they themselves are miserable. So how you deal with this is like any narcissist, you only deal with them with a goal in mind. You want something, you want to discuss something, you discuss the matter, and then that's it. You discuss nothing more. Because they're never going to reciprocate any kind of kindness, compassion, or empathy or understanding, even just cognitive empathy. Sincere interest in what you're doing and who you are, and seeking to understand what you're doing and who you are. They will not do that. They're incapable of it. They're only capable of feeding their own ego to cover up their insecurity and their low self-worth. So you're trying to win validation and approval and love and feel a sense of brotherhood or sisterly love. You're never going to experience it. And it'll drive you mad because you're seeking that validation. You're seeking that community sense, that familial love, and you'll never get it because they don't even love themselves. And the sooner you realize this, the sooner you can gain your independence. And then your own self-love is more important. Accepting yourself. We often look for the family to accept us for whatever reason. We want our family to feel proud of us or something. And the narcissistic sibling will never show that. They'll be impressed if you do something, if you accomplish something, but they'll be envious of you. They won't be proud of you and morally supportive. They'll be envious and jealous of you. They won't be happy for you. They'll be jealous of you. You understand? In other words, deep down inside, they want you to be less than them. They would rather see your downfall than your success. As much as they say they want you to succeed, listen, I only want this for you and this for you because it's a family name or whatever, because it's about them. Your success is reflective upon their self-image. That's the only reason why they're invested in your success, if they are at all. It has nothing to do with your happiness. It has to do with their ego. So they can say, look at my brother. It's mine. It's me. They make it all about themselves. No matter what you do, what you say, what happens, they will always make it about themselves, no matter what. Whether it's the covert narcissist of look how bad my life is, look how bad things turned out, the bigger victim, or the overt narcissist, they're just the grandiose notions and the egoism, the just the lack of empathy, the hypercritical side, which is just a power trip to make themselves feel better. There's nothing constructive. They don't say anything constructive out of their mouth. Everything they say and do is destructive. Well, to the pure malignant narcissist who's just downright dirty, borderline sociopath, who's just going to get you into crime, promote criminal activity, will probably only talk to you to learn how to better burglarize, become a more effective criminal. And once they're done with you, in the sense you gave them certain knowledge, they're done with you. They only want what they want from you, and then that's it. They don't care about you. That's the thing with a narcissist. And it's very hard when your sibling is a narcissist because you want to experience love and it's just never going to happen. And the sooner you come to terms with that, the sooner you realize that they're not going to love you the way you want to be loved, that they're incapable of it, the sooner you're going to realize that you need to learn to love yourself and create a family of friends or a relationship. That's where you're going to find that familial love that you seek, that unconditional loyalty and acceptance and moral support, people having your back, and that when you're around people who want to see you win, they're supportive of you. They're not jealous of you. You got to create that independent of your blood family. If you have a narcissistic parent, this is especially, cut ties with them. Every narcissist in the end find themselves alone. They're the king of their own imaginary mountain because of their low self-worth and low self-esteem and insecurity. They create these false expectations of you to feed their ego. They're not going to love you the way you want to be loved. You'll never have a heart-to-heart conversation with them. You're never going to connect with them. You're only wasting your time and energy, and you realize that you don't need them to love you. You can love yourself. You are good enough just as you are. And you learn how to take care of yourself, learn how to think positive thoughts about yourself, have an honest self-image, and understand your core values of what's important to you, and express them independent of your family. They're never going to celebrate your core values. They're only going to reject them over and over and over again and make you feel rejected as they feel. So celebrate your core values independent of your siblings. Find people outside of your family, maybe your cousins even, that'll celebrate your core values with you. So your self-worth and your self-esteem is nurtured and not destroyed by the narcissistic sibling. This is Dr. Spencer Coaches. If you have any questions at all, go ahead and leave a comment below. I sure hope that helps. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for listening.